We've been learning a lot since these sessions began. So if you have a notebook somewhere, or if you're recording this, but again, you don't have to record it. We are recording it for you. We'll be posting it on YouTube soon. So just have your notebook closer and follow along. And I hope you enjoyed the session. So yeah, Breens, karibu, we can start. I think utajiintroduce kwanza ndo pia watu wakujue.
Okay, yeah, no worries. So just a second. Yeah, so yeah, we can start. So first of all, before I begin, yeah, thank you for taking your time to attend this session. So it just shows the desire for both of us, for all of us to learn. So yeah, that's a good thing. Yeah, so the session for today is just about creating robust network calls in Android using Retrofit. So one thing about just a second. So the plan for today is to learn about how to use Retrofit to make our network calls. So yeah, that's the topic for today. So hopefully you learn something new, or in case we have notes to exchange, we can exchange that at the end of this call. Yeah, so my name is Breens. A brief intro, I'm an Android developer and an instructor. Yeah, so yeah, basically that's it. Yeah, so what should you expect from this session? So first of all, we are going to learn about what Retrofit is, how does it work, and how to set it up. So how do we set up Retrofit in our Android projects? Different types of HTTP requests. And also, finally, I think this is the important concept you're going to learn. So implementing CRUD operations using Retrofit. So CRUD in full means create, read, update, and delete. So we're going to do that with Retrofit. And at the end of this session, we're going to build like a real world application. So it's not all about theory. So it's majorly going to be hands-on learning in this session. Okay, so we're going to start with what is Retrofit. So Retrofit is just an HTTP client for Android and Java. And HTTP means Hypertext Transfer Protocol. So it's a means of transferring data between 2 points, so the server and the client. So how does Retrofit work? So Retrofit under the hood uses HTTP, so the Hypertext Transfer Protocol. So it creates a connection between the server and the client. So these connections allows us to communicate between our mobile apps, websites, and the server. Yeah, so how does that work? So let's say you have your website or mobile app. So Retrofit creates like a connection between your client, so either your website, mobile app, it depends. So it creates this connection, so like a pipeline between your client and server. So once this connection is created, we are able to send requests and be able to also receive responses from our server. So basically that's the concept behind Retrofit. And yeah, so that's the major underlying concept about most of these HTTP clients. So there are many clients. So there is Retrofit, there is Ktor, there are many other options. So this is just the main concept, how they work under the hood. So there are different types of HTTP requests. So one of them is the GET request. So it's used to fetch resources from the server. So for example, if you have a list of maybe two tasks in your server, you can use the GET request to fetch this list of to-dos. The next one is the post is used to create a resource on the server. So for example, if you want to create a to-do, you can use the post method to create like a task or a to-do. The next one is put. So put is majorly used to update existing resources on your server. So for example, if you have a to-do note in your server, you can decide to fully update maybe the title of the to-do and maybe the description of the to-do. So that's it. Then the next one is patch. So patch and put, they are quite confusing, but the difference is that patch, just as the meaning of the word says, is that you can be able to maybe update maybe a single part of this object. So let's say if you have a to-do note, you can decide to only update the description or maybe the title of this to-do. So that's the difference between put and patch. So they are quite, you can say they are quite similar, but it's quite confusing sometimes. But that's the major difference between the two. And finally, we have the delete. So the delete that is used to delete resources from the server. So yeah, so that's it. Yes, so that's the end of the theory. So this is more hands-on session. So yeah, let's start building. So I have this. Okay, is someone? I think someone's mic is open. So okay, yeah. So I have this GitHub repository. So I have this. You can go to this exact link. So this is the starter project. So if you want to follow along with me, you can just clone this branch. So it's called starter branch. Then I guess you can follow along with me. So yeah, I'll advise on that. Yeah, so let's start building. Okay, so yeah, I guess we can start. Yeah, so before we proceed testing. We proceed building. I'm just going to do a demo of what we are going to build in this session. So you have like 43 minutes to build this. Yeah, so the first thing, you enter this app, you'll see a list of posts. So this is just dummy posts. So you can see a list of them, the title, the ID of this post, the description. Yeah, so in a list. You can also be able to search a post by an ID. So let's say if you want to search 56. Yeah, you can be able to search a note by an ID. Yeah, then the next thing is you can be able to create a post. So for example, you can just, let's say, demo title, demo description. Then you can submit. And as you can see, you can create a post successfully. And yeah, the next one is you can be able to update. Yes, you can be able to update like a note, a post, so fully, partially. So let's say we want to update it fully. So you can just give it a new name and say maybe new title, test, new description, test. and you can be able to update that note. And as you can see, you're able to update this particular note. Yeah, the next one is just partially updating this note. So something similar. So you can just decide to say this and update, and it's updated. And the next one is to delete the note. So you can delete this note and the note is deleted. So we'll go through all of this CRUD operation. So to get at the list of posts, to create a new post, and to update and delete a post. Yeah, so that's it. So we're going to start. So I'm going to run my starter project. So if you have had the opportunity to clone, so maybe let me just share this link here for someone who is interested to. So it's on the chat. So you can clone this starter branch, then you can like follow along with me. So if you run the starter project, this is what we'll see. So there's nothing here, but at the end of this session, you're going to have something working here. So yeah, cool. So yeah, first thing first, let me just increase something here. Let me increase the font size so that you can. I think that's okay. Yeah, so first thing first, the dependencies. So since you're using Retrofit, we need the dependencies for Retrofit. So how do you get the dependencies? Yeah, so first thing first, you're going to come to your this dependency block in your app module. And the first thing you have to do is come to the bottom here, and you're just going to say implementation. Then let me just copy this dependency here. So I'm going to say this one. So it's this one. And the version is this one. Yeah, so yeah, that's the dependency for Retrofit. That's all you need. And the next dependency is that for you to receive responses and send responses to the server, you'll need to deserialize and serialize these responses and these requests. So you'll need a library for that. So just going to copy what we have here. So just Control D, then just going to, so it's called Retrofit Converter JSON. So what this does in the hood is that once you receive the response, it's in JSON format. But for your client, it doesn't understand JSON. So you have to convert it into objects that the client can understand. So objects are just like classes that have fields inside of it. Yeah, so you're going to sync this. Yeah, so hopefully it syncs successfully. Yeah, so it does sync successfully. And yeah, so I think we're going to start. And before I start, I'm just going to go quickly through what the starter project has. So since we're building a post, like a post application, so it's just like dummy posts. Dummy posts. So it's just a list of dummy posts. You have to create a representation of what a post is. So there's a package called here model. So inside of it, we have a post class. And as you can see, the post has like a body an ID of that post, the title, and the user ID of the post. So the user who has posted this post. Yeah. Then we have this post body. So this post body, we are going to use it when we want to create like a post. So this is what we are going to send to the server so that we can be able to like create a post. So basically that's all we have. That's all we have on the model side. Cool. And the next one is the repository. So you can think of the repository as like an interface between your UI and your data. Your data, I can say your data layer. So what do I mean by that? So the UI uses the repository to get the post from maybe the API in our case. So this is what our UI will use to get maybe the post. In this example, to get the post, to get post by ID, to create a post, to update post fully, to update post partially, and delete a post. So you can think of a repository like a bridge that the client uses to fetch data. So yeah, I think that's what the repository does. Cool. And inside here we have a retrofit client. So right now we don't have anything here, but we're going to implement it in a few. Then we have a service. So our service is just like a place where we can host like our endpoints. So you can think of endpoints as just like addresses to where like certain resources are in the server. So if you want to get the post, you have to put like the address of this where we can get this post in the server. If you want to create a post, you have to give it an address. So in a few minutes, you'll see what we mean by that. Then we have this resource class. So there's a lot going inside here. So don't like try and like understand all of it right now. So in a brief, like this resource class, what it does is that it allows our UI to know if the request was successful or not. So that's why we have our success here and our error. And in the parameters of this success, you can see that it expects some data. So if it's successful, it will come back with data. And in case it's an error, it might come with data or not, but it will always come back with an error message. So the resource class is just a way for our UI to know if the request that was made to the server is successful, or it's not successful. Yeah, so that's it. And yeah, finally, yeah, I think, yeah, so this is our view model. So I'm not sure if some of us have worked with view models, but I'm just going to assume that we all have not like worked with view models. So you can think of view model as a way of your UI to like manage the data. It updates the data. It manages the data that will be observed in the UI. So yeah, so the view model is just like a state holder. So you can just like hold your state so that your UI can read from that and show the user on the screen that this is the data. Yeah, stuff like that. Cool. And we have our main activity here. So this is where we have like our screen. So this is where we're creating our UI, like our components that are visible to our clients, and also displaying like the state that you are getting from the server to the user. So this is the screen, and we have our state here. So everything that will be shown in this main activity, so in this screen, is represented in this class. So we have our loading field. So in case we are loading and fetching like posts from the server, So this holds the post. So the post that is displayed in the screen will be shown is held in this field. Yeah. So basically everything that will be shown on the customer side uh, is held in this data class, in this class here. Yeah, and finally we have our UI event. So you can think of the UI events as a way to communicate, to communicate to your screen. So, for example, if you are getting the post from the server and there is an error, you want to show that error to the user. So that's why you have this snack bar event. So this snack bar is just like a toast where we can display the error messages or success messages. Yeah, so basically that's an overview of the whole project. So by now I hope like everybody, if you're interested, has cloned this branch, so the startup branch. Yeah, so we can start. So we'll start with getting the lists of posts. So first thing first we have to do is come to our service. So just come here to our service. And this service is an interface. So the reason we have it as an interface is because the retrofit instance we are going to create will implement this interface. So let me just start then. So we're going to get our post. So just come here and say get. So you're getting the post from the server. So import the get from Retrofit. So it's going to be post. So this is you can think of this as the address where we are going to, where the posts are located in the server. So this is just like an address where these posts are located. So you have to like put this in your get method so that Retrofit can know how to handle this request. Okay, so after that, we are expecting like a response back. So Retrofit allows us to like listen for if a response is successful or not. So by default, we have this response class. So you can wrap this response class with what you're expecting from the server. So we are expecting a list of posts. So the reason I'm wrapping this, so let me just import this. So the reason I'm wrapping this list of posts inside of this response class is because it will give us like an easier way for us to know if the request is successful or not. Then based on that, we can either emit if a request is successful or not to the UI. Yeah, so that's it. Cool. And next thing now is we have to implement this somewhere. So just come to your repository. So if you remember, your repository is just like a bridge for your UI to get the data from your server. So just come to your repository, and in this function here, this is where we're going to return the response. So this is just like I put this since this is just like placeholders. So I'm just going to remove this placeholder. Then, so there's one thing we have to take into consideration since we are doing network requests. We don't want to do this in the main thread of the application. So you have to delegate this task into the background thread of your application so that you avoid scenarios where your UI is like lagging or very slow. So for you to do that, first of all, you have to mark this function as a suspendful function. Then for you to delegate this task to the background thread of your application rather than the main thread, you have to switch your context to the IO thread. So just come here and say with context and come here and say dispatchers.io. So the dispatchers.io, as you can see, they are different. So the main thread, the IO thread, and unconfined. So for the IO thread is for scenarios where you want to do heavy lifting tasks. So like making network requests, saving data to your DB. So that's it. Cool. And yeah, so that's it. And the next thing now is to make our API call to fetch this post. So there's this way I like to make my network request. So I just put it inside a try. So the try, and we have a catch block. So I'll just explain this in a moment. So the try and catch block, so it will try for the first time, and if it's successful, it will return. But in case there's an error, it will navigate to the catch block and it will return an error. So yeah, so that's the beauty of the try and catch. Okay, so first of all, we want to get the post. So just come here and say, yeah, so posts. So first of all, we want to get the post, but before we get the post, we have to create our Retrofit instance that will allow us to get the post. So what do I mean? So you can come to our Retrofit package, and as you can see, it's empty. So let's create our Retrofit client, so our HTTP client, but in this case, it's just an Retrofit client. So we're going to create like a single instance of this client. And first of all, we have to put our base URL here. So you can put it in a different file, but since this is just like a quick walkthrough, you can just put it in this file. So this is the base URL. So the